looking out there, seeing the sea is very nice.
Yeah, we get to be inspired.
Inspired by the ocean. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty like... It's quite nice being inside and seeing the sea when it's a bit intimidating.
Yeah,
And just
that's
being
what
like...
I love about this. It's my dream. It's my dream to own a beach house, actually. And
Oh, yeah?
I've been putting it on vision boards for years, thinking
Okay.
it would come a certain way. Getting own a beach. But now we're in this one, it's like, it's the real dream, like being with your mates, having just the horizon and the ocean and the music you write, it just comes through. It's like you don't have to think about it, it's just pouring through from all the elements, and yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it definitely makes a difference, that environment thing. I used to love making music on the train, because you're going past all these different spots and there's so many people like inspiring you,
Yeah.
and just seeing them and being like, I used to love making music on the train.
Yeah, I love
It's a very
that.
cool thing
You
to
were
do.
sitting there with Logic or something open, yeah.
And just you can get those little MIDI keyboards to give it some like velocity and just bash out some tunes, especially if you're going up to like somewhere far, like Scotland or to Cornwall. Get like a fair few tunes done in that time.
Do you ever like record people on the train and then you owe like thousands of strangers PPL?
No, it's quite nice doing that little bit of like, I don't know what you'd call it, but in nature or around, adding that to tunes. Do you do that?
Yeah, so in this beach house where we've been making this album, we've had the door open and the ocean rushing in. And we've even put the mic on the balcony in the good weather, and we have the seagulls. And we have had some people from the cafe featuring in some of our songs.
Nice.
And yeah, I think for me, just the more I'm blended with the elements, especially the ocean and the sunlight, the more it feeds that creative inspiration.
Okay.
And I think that's why I thought I have to do something my own way and get a space, rent a space that really ignites me, because I was going up and down on the train to London all the time. And by the time you get there, you're just kind of, it's quite boxy, and it's just hard to connect to that way of writing. Like some of the greats say, the best song is just wanting to be written through you, and you just have to catch it. Yeah. And that's what I get here. I'm like, yeah.
Just a vessel.
Yeah.
Sending it through.
Exactly. Shall I turn off the dishwasher?
You can feature. How long does it stay beeping for?
I'm not sure. We kept having to open it to stop it.
Already. Back in a sec, everybody. Where is it?
Is it now? It's going to stop.
Is it that there?
Yeah, but it looks like it's like the middle cupboard there.
This? On this side?
Yeah, that side where you are. I should have just gone up and done it myself. Next one. So lazy. Thank you. That was incredibly lazy of me.
Yeah, I think environment is huge for that kind of stuff. I think it makes a huge difference.
It
Just
really
seeing
does.
stuff around.
And people in the room as well. Like, as much as I love as a published songwriter, and some of that part of my job is going into random rooms of different people, and it's always amazing. It's always lovely people, really talented. But I'm quite a sensitive being, and I feel like my energy and my ability to be a conduit for music definitely changes, obviously depending who I'm with. And when I saw it took me years, to 36 now, like, to realise actually there's a certain environment, certain people. When I get that sweet spot, the music is just 10 times better. So I was like, what if I, filled a beach house with people that I feel really safe with and who I love? And sure enough, that's just been the best music I've ever made.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a huge difference, doesn't it? Being around people that you can feel, that you can be your kind of like actual self with. And, actually let out what you want to let out. Makes a big difference.
Yeah, we've opened the space here. Usually we sit in some kind of chill circle, or we make a little altar there and we put our intentions. And at the start of this, I'd been a feature singer for so many years, but I'd been lost in my artist voice. And I said to them all, like, I really need to be held in that space where I can get back in touch with those with that pure voice of mine, or my artistry. And yeah, we put a recording on for the first night, and we did 4 hours. We just sat and pressed record and jammed and really like allowed whatever wanted to come through. And there was moments in that where I got to grieve, or I got to rage, or whatever it was. There was so much joy, there was laughter, but we basically just got to feel the full spectrum of music and emotion that evokes. And since that first night, I've just found my core team who I know that I can write. And we had like at least 12 songs so far picked out of that recording. There's like, it went on this big journey, and there was like, there's a song, and we pieced it together. And now I feel like my channel's cracked back open. I'm so grateful. Beautiful people.
Yeah. So tell me a bit about, because we talked briefly, so obviously we met
crazy way. Yeah,
when our kids just started kind of, I got very, well, one of my boys in particular is very kind of forthcoming and very, we'll just go up to anyone, start conversations.
I love that.
And he just kind of went up to your boy and they just started talking, and then we started chatting.
Yeah.
But then also we didn't know each other were musicians at that point.
No.
We met like 2 different occasions.
Yeah.
Where the kids were just kind of messing around, having fun.
Yeah.
And then we met at the swimming while our kids were swimming, and you started saying you were a singer. And then we started chatting, and I heard you said your name, and I was like, I know that name. And then it turns out we've got lots of mutual friends.
Yeah.
Met early. Yeah. And I realised that, oh, okay, that's where I've heard that name before.
Yeah.
And it's such a small world.
Such a small world, and both in the same like little town. And there's so many people, I swear, in this part of the world that you bump into that are part of the wider scene. You had no idea, and it's crazy. But yeah, the fact it was like 2 separate play date occasions where our boys found each other.
Yeah.
And then if swimming, I was like, have I seen you before?
Yeah. I recognise you from somewhere.
Yeah.
And then we knew a few of the same parents, right?
Yeah,
so we knew Maliki's
exactly.
Mum and mum.
Yeah, I love it when you find musician parents, because it is a type of lifestyle that a lot of people don't kind of click or understand. And it's always really nice when you find other people doing the hardcore parenting family life and going out and gigging and making that work. And I was like, really, when I saw your Instagram and this whole other world that you've got this amazing sax, identity and business, I was like, that's so cool. The way you're holding all of that at once. I'm always inspired by that.
Yeah, and generally they don't combine that often. Like it happened the other day where one of the kid groups was like, can you bring your sax and play some like Christmas songs? And I was like, that's really the first time that those kind of worlds, apart from obviously just playing at home, like I try and make music and play as much at home just because the boys love it. And it's like, I sometimes think in my head, why should the music that I make be for just people who either pay for it or I'm kind of playing in front of? Like, why shouldn't it be for my family as well, and like all of us enjoying together? Aww. So I started just like making music, and my little one is so into music. You just see him there just like bopping, like squatting. He's just started kind of learning to walk, and I'll put the speaker on. He's there just like listening to what he was listening to the other day, some Omar or something like that, just like grooving on down.
Wow.
But yeah, it's
start them young.
Yeah, and then so it's quite interesting that the other day I played saxophone at this kids, it was at Redeemers, which is like a play group. And yeah, I just thought in my head, like, these worlds have not actually combined that often. The whole parenting thing with like my kind of career, or you know what I do out there, I've always kind of kept them relatively separate. And the other time that it combined this year was playing at Camp Festival. We all went as a family, and then there was one point where I was playing on stage and Ezra had his little earphones on. He's kind of leaning off mum, just like looking at me like this, but in the crowd, just like smiling, going,
oh my God.
And then my other one was going, dada, dada, dada. And I was playing on stage. I was like, this is... I don't know if I can get that. The feeling that I had from that was like, don't know how I'm going to top that.
Yeah, that's an amazing feeling.
Then looking at you like,
yeah.
Well, what are you doing up there, Dad?
Yeah. And it hits home then that actually they really love to see their parents as their own people and following their stars and following their dreams, and that like makes their little faces light up. And because there comes a lot of guilt with this path. I don't know if you feel with as a musician parent, it can feel like, you know, is the right way to parent looking in this one way where you're always around and you're always home. But the thing that really hits home in those moments that you just described with Leo, when he sees me, he's like, Mama, like I love seeing you on stage. And he's like, I want to do that when I'm older. Like, actually, you're modeling that you can. Parenthood isn't the death of your dream or yourself. Like, actually, it's something you can celebrate together. And I want to make more of that combination, like you were saying, of bringing those worlds together. And I've had Leo here at the beach house writing, and he even comes up with little ideas, and then it's so sweet. But yeah, I kind of want to travel around with him and make music in different parts of the world and see he's an amazing singer, see his little artist identity come alive.
Cool. And
DJ as well, he wants to be a DJ.
Nice. DJ singer.
Yeah.
It's a good combo.
Exactly. But yeah. But it's a lot. It is a lot, isn't it, to hold all of it. And I think you have to go through so many chapters where, I don't know, you meet a lot of, in my industry especially, a lot of people don't have kids in the dance music writing world specifically. And there's just this kind of mindset that the way you have to do it is like pure graft, constant sessions. The more you do, the more you achieve. And I've never been able to get on with that ideology. In fact, the more I sit back and take care of myself and the different parts of my life that are important to me and fill them up, the more phone calls actually come out the blue and things just happen. I attract these things. And it takes a lot as a parent in this industry to unplug from the mass productivity rat race mindset. 100%. And then you see other people doing it, you're like, oh, hats off. Like,
yeah.
You forge your own way and make it work.
Well, it matters what you're working on as much as how you're doing it or how hard you're working at that one thing, right? That makes such a difference. If you're just doing one thing like over and over again, but it's the wrong thing, yeah, things are going to eventually just be a bit like, why is that person doing that over and over again? You're not really getting anywhere, or you don't seem happy while you're doing it.
And we've all done that, fallen into that trap a few times.
100%.
Always having to pull myself out. I mean, for me, it was weird that my voice got famous originally from, but oh God, such a big story. But going through a cancer journey in my 20s, I was saying yes to a lot of things, just like living in the moment, really cracked open and quite inspired by meeting my mortality in that way and doing a lot of music. And part of that was I agreed to put about 40 hooks, buy out 40 hooks of mine to a friend who was going to put them on Splice, which is the sample website where you can download hooks, royalty free. So you essentially are putting your voice on it without signing away your rights. And it's not part of a much bigger story, but yeah, fast forward like 4 or 5 years later, going through healing, becoming a mother, all these things, I'm hearing my voice on the radio, like in Ibiza, like that's my voice from like 4 or 5 years ago when I had cancer and I did those hooks. And they're really ignited hooks because I was in a very inspired part of my journey. And I'm just hearing them on the radio like, oh, how can this happen? I mean, it's amazing, but also really bittersweet because they don't have an attachment to me or my name. And that was, just the most unexpected sequence of events where I had almost put down and surrendered my career to motherhood. And just really, it was lockdown, pandemic. I was like, okay, it might never happen. I'm just going to put my dream down for a bit. And then, you get a phone call and like, oh, you're on Radio 1, you're all over the thing. And that opened a lot of doors and I suddenly got a publishing deal. And but it just goes to show you don't know when that thing's around the corner. Yeah. Like the more you let go, I can chase and, as you said, do the same thing a million times and it not really get much results. And then quite often when I surrender and I let go to the mystery, it comes through.
I'd say that's up there with the hardest thing to do as a creative, to like actually relinquish control, like put in as much as you can personally, and then just being like, right, this may happen or may not, and then just letting it ferment. That is one of the hardest things. And I find for me, like, I definitely find it with like individuals, if I'm kind of like, if someone's not as into a project, I kind of feel sometimes like I'm really pushing for them to be as into it, and you can clearly see that they're not. And I also think that for me, like, stems back to a few things from my childhood. So it's like linked to like a deeper psychology of stuff that I need to work on. And then that can kind of like blends in and comes out in what you're chasing in your career.
Yes, so true.
And actually a thing of just being like, no, it may happen, it may be all right, but it may not also not be all right. So it's just that thing of just allowing whatever is going to happen, just allowing it to happen.
Yeah.
Which is hard.
It's a lifelong journey, that one. My God. And yeah, like you said, just you're almost bringing through these creations are like babies. You're like giving life to this music, and then you kind of got to let it go and find its own way. And the more we push and control, and I've done so much of that. It took me 8 years to release an album from cancer days just because of that. Trying to control the way it happened. But yeah, that's so interesting. Yeah, Almaya is actually the name that came through the album. Anyway, nice. That was my Bluetooth speaker saying Almaya disconnected. But yeah, it's she's taught me a lot about surrender, that album has. And it's also the balance of the songs and the music being for you. Like, this is my voice, this is my artistry, this is my story. But actually it's also not for you, it's for the world, and humbling as well to that. Like, music can be so indulgent and artistic, and it's beautiful that it is cathartic, and you can heal, like you said, things from your whole childhood you can process with music. I really feel like it's the biggest healing, and then the even bigger healing almost comes when you go, yes, and it's almost not up to me how that touches the world, and it wants to find its own way, and everyone has their own meaning. And I gave so much meaning to these like vocals I did on the Splice pack.
Did you fully? So I was going to ask at the time.
Yeah.
Did you fully comprehend what that meant at the time? Did you understand, like, because it must have been
really,
like at that time, Splice must have been fairly new.
It was,
that concept.
yeah.
If people know what Splice is, by the way, it's like a whole library of hundreds of thousands of different sounds that you can kind of like pick ideas. You can pick like BPM styles, and you can basically take samples which are kind of royalty free, and then take them, put them in your own music, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But I guess at that time it must have been fairly new, a new
yeah,
concept.
and even more complex in my situation was that I did it I did a session for a friend, ultimately, kind of just.
You still friends now?
She's she's kind of a distant friend, someone I work with a lot. Right. She's a lovely, lovely girl. She's a singer. She's an incredible businesswoman. But yeah, I don't really speak to her much in general. But she had this idea, and she got quite a lot of singers in Brighton and Worthing and surrounding to sing hooks, so she could build this vocal pack. And she would have said, like, oh, I'm going to put it on Splice. She'd partner with Splice for this. But yeah, none of us really knew what that was. I certainly didn't. I mean, when you're going through a cancer journey as well, you're just kind of not really in your normal cognitive mind. I was just like, yeah, I'll do everything.
Yeah.
And it sounds morbid, but I didn't know at that point with what I was going through if I'd even be
like
around much longer. Yeah. I was like, well, may as well get it all out. So I literally wrote these songs in like I think it was 40 hooks in about 2 hours.
Wow.
And then I just went, and they were all very improvised and poured through that place of raw expression, I guess, from what I was going through. And then put them down at hers, and then, didn't hear really back for another 4 or 5 years.
And then you heard that.
I did not comprehend, no.
Wow.
And like there has been a lot of, since I started speaking out on it publicly, there has been a lot of debate around this, because there is an argument which I really empathise and understand, which is like, these DJs and producers have bought royalty-free vocals. They're blameless. They're just using royalty-free vocals that they're promised off of Splice. Yeah. And I don't have a problem with that at all. I think, I made that decision. That's kind of on me. But where it got hard was 7-8 years later, these songs kept coming out and kept reaching platinum status or gold.
What, different songs?
Different. So I've had, thousands and thousands of songs I'll never track down. And so many stories with each song about the people, which is actually one of the connections we have through Matt.
Yeah.
People that have tried to find me. Anyway, just it's 7-8 years later, still some new ones coming out, making hits. But I was in a position where I just couldn't people were removing the woman and the story from the voice, and I couldn't break through in the industry. And I was, you know, a parent struggling. At one point, I didn't have a home. It was just because of my weird path I've had, a very weird journey. And it was like being without a home, struggling as a parent on Universal Credit, and then seeing the songs shoot to platinum and not having any control over being able to associate myself with them. And not even to try and get publishing like backlogged or get royalties for them, because I made that decision and I sold my rights, but just to kind of get new work from the listening and understanding from the industry that this woman makes hits and we'll employ her now to do more. It was like I couldn't even get the same treatment on new stuff. That's what was the hardest thing.
Right.
It was like I'd been put into a splice camp. It's like, how many more years will I be in this camp? Like, what do I need to do to change it? And a lot of people have said to me, I think you should, you know, be entitled to write some royalties because of how it all went down. But I don't really want to fight for that. I really like care about the producers and DJs that have used them, and I don't want to take anything from them. But I do want to see more recognition of the humans and the stories behind the voices, because it was it was more the social kind of how we receive, like, even women or writers in music being so kind of discarded and like kind of underhanded. But you see it happening a lot, and that's what I've found with my journey, is that even though people love my hits and they love my voice and they know it makes hits, they want to somehow get that from an anonymous source that they don't have to put a face to or value. And that's been really difficult, but that's a big thing I'm changing now, I guess, for myself.
Do you think that's a link? I just thought about that as well. Do you think there's a link to it being electronic music?
Yeah, it does go with the God sort of God DJ culture. You know, like the
and also
one.
the fact that usually everything apart from your vocal is synthetic.
Yes.
Or is like a sample of some kind.
That's true,
They want to stay in that. If it was like a new soul thing, or if it was like, you know, a different genre where it had lots of real instruments, there'd probably be a different vibe or a different feeling towards the vocals.
That's
Whereas maybe a lot
good
of
point,
people just want like, speed, let's get it quickly.
Which they can now with AI, which is scary. Yeah. That's a whole other thing.
Yeah, I was saying to one of my friends the other day, I had a few of my friends have got 1 or 2 requests for like first dancers at weddings, and they are AI songs.
Oh my God, it's scary, isn't it? We're going to be out of a job.
You know, you listen to it and you're like, something about this is rather strange, like about the music. It doesn't really feel human. It feels a bit just like, ugh. And it's hard to learn. Yeah. Because it's not sang in a human way.
The phrasing is
You're
bizarre.
Like, ugh, what is this?
Yeah.
Really strange.
I've had A&Rs asking me to recreate AI vocals, which a couple of times earlier on I have done, and then write my own and change it for myself, so it's make sure putting the human in it. But it is really hard to recreate, and I'll send it back and be like, okay, actually, can you do it more like the robot? And I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if I want to feed that machine to that level. I think we need to work with AI, and it's an amazing tool, and I would never say, oh, don't use AI for music, but I think there's a line.
Definitely.
If you let it go over that line, it's dangerous territory.
I think if it helps human progression and human development, it's good.
Yeah.
But it gets a bit squirrely and a bit weird when it doesn't and starts taking over.
Yeah.
Someone described it once as like, get it to do the stuff that you don't want to do, like
Donkey
planning,
work.
all that kind of stuff where it can do it quickly and you don't want to do it. But anything creative, I think it's just a bit strange.
Yeah, it is.
Not really into it.
And there's a lot of people now. I mean, there was a big thing that flared up 3 weeks ago, with the Haven I Run song. It's an entirely, I think they've clarified now it maybe wasn't, but seemed to be an entirely AI song that came out of nowhere, and it blew up the internet, and it was, it went, I think it got into BBC Introducing as track of the week and all these things, and it just caused a lot of backlash. People were like, this can't happen, what is this? And then there was singers doing their own versions saying, with a human touch. But people are angry at it. But with everything, even with me and my story of kind of being removed from my voice, and I think it's about how can we, because there is a way to make this something we learn from and come together more with it, and rather than focusing on the opposition of it, which is kind of where I'm at with my own story. How can I see this journey I've been through, and now create a solution that's needed, a gap in the industry where we could actually evolve into a healthier relationship between either artists and samples or singers, and also with AI. Like, what do we need to put in place to kind of allow it to be a great tool, but not cancel humanity out?
Which I guess that is the case for not just music. So many industries and so many areas of life. Like, how do you work with it so that it doesn't kind of cancel out humans?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because it's all part of evolution, isn't it? I think I'm a very deep and spiritual person. I always feel like if something's coming into creation, we can move with it, we can evolve with it. I don't think anything happens kind of entirely like there's an error in the world, like they shouldn't have AI. Like, it's just, but it teaches us like how can we get better at our boundaries and at our way of appreciating and connecting to things and retaining integrity. So yeah, I'm always just very nuanced with all of these subjects. I'm like listening for the new way through, rather than like trying to make it so black and white. And yeah,
and I guess that way you're not trying to fight it. You're trying to just say it is inevitable that it's going to be growing and developing. And I think as soon as, I said this on another podcast, but as soon as the military get involved with like development of things, you know it's going to be like, it's almost like every country then is kind of fighting against each other to kind of develop that at such a rate. You can't really fight it. And I guess it's kind of inevitable, but you just kind of find your way through while that's happening.
Yes.
And be like, it's inevitable, but how can we use it to help develop us?
Yeah. There will be ways that it can really make the world a better place, and bring more connection and more love, I'm sure. But yeah, people always get angry at the
I think it's
start.
Also new, isn't it? It's so new.
Everything, it's so new.
So everyone's just like, what's this?
Yeah, it is mad to think where like our kids would be like when they're making music and things like that, where how the rate it's developing. I'm like, Leo's never gonna sort of maybe have the same relationship to learning music and getting logic, and it's quite a skill that you have to have, and now everyone can do it. It's like, that's crazy.
It's not that expensive to get. Obviously the laptop's expensive, but in terms of like actual musical software, like Logic's fairly cheap, and just having that on your laptop, and the fact you can now separate stems with literally just like the click of a button. Like even when I was younger, like I had to, thinking back to like people when learning songs, I was also talking to another friend about this, like some people would have to learn songs by listening to them at a concert.
Yeah,
like hearing
really?
it and then being like go home and being just like playing it, trying to remember it.
Oh, that's so funny. Wow.
Or from like a vinyl being like
I definitely did that with lyrics. I'd be like, press play, write the lyric, press pause.
Yeah. Some
of the translations were quite funny, actually.
Yeah,
they'll never know those quirky little 90s, 80s days.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Imagine music just being passed around, just like for an auditory sense, just being like, we learnt this song, and then just learning it and having no technology involved.
Yeah.
Just passing it around.
Yeah, that's a gone time. Crazy.
Yeah, and having to like slow things down. And if you slow the vinyl down, it would then be in a different key. So you'd have to like learn it in that key, speed it back up to original speed, play it in the original key, and then kind of go on with your business.
And the amount of brain power that must take, like.
And it might not even be banging tune. It might be like quarter tone out or something.
And that was part of the magic and the beauty of it.
Yeah.
It's like some of those old records that are just like, that like remix of the original, you got the love, and is it Candy Staten? I can't remember. There's like and it's like almost a semitone out or something.
Yeah.
But it's so great, and that will never happen now.
It's like a Frankie Knuckles thing, isn't it?
The remix might be. Yeah, exactly. Some of that stuff is just like, that's what makes it great, and that's what we try to do when we write here. Actually, we're like, it's got like someone boiling the kettle and someone like the ocean, and we're like, just keep it in. It's great. It's part of the human moment.
Yeah, New Rules has got loads of that. If you look at like the Dua Lipa song, if you look at the production, I watched like a thing of him. If you actually listen to them samples, it's got like his wife talking in the background, and he's just there like drumming a beat on his thing, and his wife's chatting to a friend.
Love that.
Like
I'm all for that.
A big tune. It makes a difference though. I think it's like, again, it's that difference between, I guess, analog and digital. digital, generally people like it because of its cleanliness and the clean kind of like sound, whereas I guess analog is a bit more real and a bit more kind of like, it's dirtier, isn't it? It's got a bit more like distortion, a bit more saturation.
And I feel like that's going to become the real valuable thing that people want now, hungry for, because that's, in a world of AI and machines, you can't, that's what's missing, that heart.
Right.
And that you'll never recreate that moment where you were writing and your kid came in and said, it's all that. It's like, that's the soundscape of life happening. And you can never really, you just can't recreate that ever. So there's hope in that sense. Maybe it'll be a revolution, that there's like more, maybe vinyl comes back, or more tangible. Vinyl is kind of still going, but something more, the more tangible, more human forms of art and creativity are going to be like delicacies, I think, in this new age. So.
Yeah, human performance will become like retro.
Yeah. Imagine,
Retro
God,
delicacy.
got a human singing in that. Oh, it's like 100 quid.
It's not an android.
A night. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah,
and I think it really links in with, I'm still trying to piece together what I'm going to do with what my whole story and journey has been, because it seems to stand for something in an extreme sense that the world the world needs to look at, which is like how much of our human stories go into creativity. And I think for me, rooting back, I was 26 when I was diagnosed with cancer, and that was like the start of...
What type of cancer was it?
Hodgkin's lymphoma, so blood cancer, which is technically, I think I said to you when we last saw each other, one that you kind of almost live with forever on paper. But I have been in remission for 7 years. But I was, at the time, I've been a singer and an artist for since I was 15 professionally, and my whole life, as long as I can remember. I was gigging 5 times a week, singing down the beach at Brighton Music Hall, there. I was in. Are you
from this area then?
Yeah, from Worthing, so I moved back home.
Right.
Yeah, and I was signed to Tru Thoughts Records, and I was in a band called J Felix, and we'd do it was really cool, electronic but soul jazz. Soul jazz is where I come from, which was it was so weird when my voice got famous on dance music. I was like, oh, what's this?
Right.
Because I was just singing soul stuff and it was sped up, Anyway, I was in that time of my life just being a full-time musician. As always, it's all I've ever known to do, but I hadn't found my artist voice yet, and it took that diagnosis, I think, to start the journey of cracking open, who are you here to be? What's your story? What's your voice? And I did have to delve into all of my childhood and the healing I had to go through on the cancer journey. The music was intrinsic to that. I don't think I could have dived as deep as I did. Definitely not with the music. That got it out of me. And I remember the day I told I might have cancer. We thought I might have a lung, collapsed lung or something, because it was started as a chest pain, and it was something that wasn't going away. And at the time I remember thinking, I'd only ever had a relationship to the outside world, and just me as an external person or something. I never had a relationship to an inner world or feeling my body or anything. And I just had this weird sense that every time it panged, it was I am not okay. I feel I'm always performing, I'm always on stage, but something in here doesn't feel right. I don't really ever feel like I'm in my body. I don't really know who I am. And it was the more I got close to figuring out what this was, I just realized, I didn't have any relationship to myself, and I was just living as a performer, or a living performer, really, just for the world, and looking at myself through an objective lens in that way. So the day I got diagnosed, I was just always on the go. I thought it was just a routine thing. Went for scan results. I think it was it's an X-ray I'd had, and I know then they sent me for a CAT scan, I guess, or something. Anyway, I had a gig lined up immediately after the hospital appointment, so I had to go to the beach. So I went there, and then he was saying there's a mass, but he had an accent. He was a mass. He didn't say tumour. And my mum was in me, and we were okay. So could this be
on the phone or something?
What was that? So
Was it on the phone
No,
or was
we
it
went in person
Okay.
at a hospital in Brighton. So it was like a little drive down from the beach where my gig was. And and then after we left him, he said lymphoma, but you don't know what that means. You don't know what lymphoma means, cancer. And then the Miller nurse gave us a card, and my mum was like, wait, so this could be cancer? Like, and she's like, oh, we can't say right now. And I just remember like just being just so dissociated, like, but I knew something really important was happening to do with me and this problem I'd been feeling of like not knowing who I was. So I went straight down to the beach, and my mum bought me a double whiskey, and I just sang in the sun. I just carried on 3-hour set, sang loads of soul jazz covers, and I had this for the first time. I've always had a very spiritual sense of myself, but this was the first direct thing I ever felt, looking out to the sun and the sea, which is maybe why I have such a connection. And it said, you know, this is going to be the making of you. I just felt this voice like in speaking to me. This is going to be the miracle. Oh my God. And you know, we've just written an album called Miracles. Didn't even clock that.
Nice.
All this time later. And so I don't know where I started this thread, but yeah, that was the first time I knew that this cancer healing journey was going to be something that actually addressed the issue of who is Abi, what is my artist voice, who am I as a person, and I stopped becoming just a feature singer and just a living stage monkey, and start actually what is this, what's my heart, what am I here to say, what's my legacy. Crazy times.
And I think music is one of those things where it kind of takes you away, but there are probably millions of musicians around the world struggling with real problems, but they just get so addicted to performing. And in those moments, you're just in another world. It's like you can't really, if people who haven't played music before, you can't really explain it. It just kind of takes over everything. You go into this flow state. You're kind of in this new world. Yes. And I think that a lot of people are avoiding, like you said, you're kind of avoiding things inside yourself. And I think a lot of musicians use music to do that. Yeah,
you can use it to find yourself or to escape. Yeah. You can't you? Like a lot of things.
There's a guy called Russell Kennedy he's a psychiatrist from America, and he also talks about like anxiety, and he talks about all anxiety is like a form of separation, but he thinks the most important one is separating from yourself, and that's the biggest reason that people get anxiety. And that's kind of ties into what you were saying, like if you're separating and you're being almost seeing people through a different lens, seeing yourself through a lens of someone else watching you perform. You're not really being part of yourself. You're just kind of avoiding it. And you're avoiding like these feelings that you're having inside yourself.
Yes. And it's a perfect distraction, I think,
100%.
For us, like sensitive, deep feeling beings, to just kind of be like, I'll just let the music move through me, and I'll just take on like a million gigs, and I never really have to touch the deep place that actually is probably the reason behind why I can sing well, or why.
It's scary, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a scary feeling.
Scariest journey you'll ever go on.
Yeah.
And the biggest blessing, I think, when quite a lot of people might resonate with this, when you are given, whether it's a big health diagnosis or a loss of a loved one, or anything like a big challenge and adversity in life, it doesn't feel like it at the time, but it is the gift. I always say the gifts from the dark is what you get, because you're basically like given this door that you have to walk through. There's no other way you can go, and you have to go through that door. And when you go through that door, it's like this treasure chest of things, that the gaps in your life that you've not been able to work out.
Mate,
you
could
have
not be
to
more
go
true.
through it. Yeah.
Mine was not health, but it was addiction.
Oh yeah, you said.
So like I was basically addicted to cocaine and booze. And that got to like the lowest point. Like you said, I got to the darkest point I've ever been in my life. And then I was just like, potentially going to lose everything. My family, wife, potentially going to lose stuff. And I just said, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to get help. So I went on I got therapy. Kind of just when my kids were really young. And having that for like a year solid, like every week, talking to someone who knew what they were, talking about.
Yeah.
And actually realizing that there are so many things inside me that I'd just been kidding myself about. Yeah. And I'd just been lying to myself about, like, almost like putting rose-tinted glasses on all these things. And I was like, oh, it's all fine. I'll just carry on. I'll, you know, like keep drinking and then keep doing gigs, and then I'll be fine. I'm really hungover on these gigs.
Goes with the territory, yeah.
Yeah, I'll be okay. Yeah, because as a musician as well as having that stuff that I talked about before, that you talked about, you can kind of get you lost in. Also, that it's so readily available just to be like, here you go, drink, here you go, anything like that. And it's such an environment where most people do it in those environments when you're doing this, especially if it's like a club gig or if it's like a gig in a certain environment. Like that is kind of just given to you. So I think for me, that was a moment when I just said, and if I, like you said, if I hadn't had that gift from the darkest point of my life, then I wouldn't have got help. I just kept like trudging along, being like, oh, this is all fine. Yeah,
and who knows the impact, the greater impact,
I'd probably be dead.
Yeah, I definitely would be dead. It's true.
Yeah, and then also, sorry, going back to what we were talking about before, when you're talking about like real music and having real parts of music, I used to do the opposite because I was mentally unwell. I used to think music had to be perfect. And it was almost a replication of how I felt that I had to be. Just a perfect person with no mistakes and trying to just be perfectly good all the time. And the music had to be like the cleanest, best thing you'd ever heard. And I'd obsess over these like 3 bars or 4 bars and just go in and be like, this is going to be perfect. And then it just became like contrived and this weird like washed music. But then as soon as I like dealt with a lot of the stuff inside me, the music started becoming a lot more who I am actually, which is just, you know, like human.
Yeah,
a bit more kind of like raw, a bit more silly, a bit more just like playful, you know, these real things input in there, not the cleanness. It's really interesting.
That really makes sense. And we really can't bring our best art when we're not willing to go into the dark, uncomfortable places, because it's inside those places that a lot of I think I had a teacher before called it the red energies, like all the things of the feelings, the rage, the grief, the joy, they actually live in this one place, and you can't really touch the joy and the connection and the beauty without the grief, without the depth, without the grit. So they're doing their load out.
Nice.
But yeah, I commend you for taking that journey, because I know there's a lot of us like having to face that. It's like it's truth or death is the way I was looking at it, like, and it's not for the faint-hearted. And people say, how are you so courageous? It's like, well, I actually didn't have a choice. Like I had to. And you said a really beautiful thing earlier that was because it was a lyric from one of my songs. I was like, that's interesting. Relinquish the control. I've got a song called Courage that said, I got so much courage in my soul. All it takes is to relinquish the control. And people who hadn't been through this journey kept saying, I love your song, but I just don't get that line. Like, why would you give up control? Like, what does that mean? And I was like, well, actually, was there ever in the way of me making my music or like living my life in the way I'm supposed to be? Was not trusting, like you said, wanting to be the one that makes the music and make it perfect, not trusting my messiness, not trusting my humanness, not trusting that there's a loving force and a creative creation energy that's holding me, whatever you look at that as or don't. Like life is holding us, and actually those gritty parts of ourselves that we don't want people to see are just the most juiciest, sacred parts of our humanity. But in the side of the patriarchal consciousness, and I don't mean that men and women, I mean mind over body, mind over senses, like the way that we've capitalized and sort of tried to live up here and just only show people what's clean and comfortable. It's like we've killed ourselves, we've killed our creativity, we're killing our bodies, the earth. It's all just so connected. And basically that's the journey I had to go on with. Cancer was my teacher for that. I never really saw cancer as a horrible thing for me personally. I was like, I had to understand it as my teacher. It was a huge 11 centimeter tumor in my chest, and then it became a 21 centimeter tumor in my chest. But anyway, it was the thing that taught me all of this, and to embrace what was that I've been burying in my body? What was that I didn't want people to see? Slowly uncover that. That was a bit of a tangent, but yeah.
No, that's cool.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah, it's all about tangents. Guess conversations are always tangent-based. You okay?
Sorry, do you want to?
So, do you mind if I just...
No,
grab
don't worry
your
about
stuff.
it. We can always cut in and cut out. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to...
Sorry, I was in the middle of a big tangent there.
To be fair, I do actually need a wee as well. So we
Oh,
can
I
always
need a
cut
wee
in.
too, yeah. Well, I was at two
Back
toilets.
in a second, everybody. We're back.
Yeah.
No, nowhere to cut it. Nowhere to cut it in.
Yes, perfect. Well, for a second there, I was like, oh, is there an order? Is there a live audience that I don't know about?
That's on
Am I-
TikTok Live. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Jesus. That'd be intense.
God. Yeah, very.
What were we talking about?
Well, it set us up quite nicely. We were talking about the gifts from the dark and
Yeah.
how when we go through these deep initiations, they activate some of our greatest gifts. And as creatives, how much that impacts our music in a positive way. And yeah, I'd love to share about that. My album was actually called Get Deep for that reason. Wrote an album. So for context, I was diagnosed with lymphoma, blood cancer at 26 years old. I was a jazz soul singer, always on stage, never really in my body or in my own heart, and didn't have an artist's voice, and also kind of had a lot of insecurity and just kind of was a chameleon and lived to sing what everyone else wanted me to sing. And so the first time I ever, when I got cancer and I started to tune into what is this, it was like an 11 centimeter tumor in my chest, I got this sort of sense, you need to get deep in yourself. You need to go to the places you've never been. You need to feel your internal world, not just be living for the outside all the time, and understand yourself as a worthy, valuable human. So yeah, I started to write these songs through cancer treatment, through the journey I was taken on from that moment was like just deep diving into emotional things that I'd suppressed as a child, trauma from various points in my life, things I got from my parents, things I'd picked up myself, unresolved relationship stuff. And yeah, I started to, for the first time, write really from that place of what does my heart need right now? What's the medicine? And these songs just started pouring through me. And I put together a 9-piece band. It was really beautiful. I just met all the right people at the right time. And I was, at the time, going through chemo and treatment, none of which worked for me, but it was part of my journey. And I'd be like on hospital, hooked up sometimes for like, I think the worst chemo I had was like 5 to 7 days at a time, like on the drip in hospital, sometimes in quarantine. And I'd channel these songs like Courage and Get Deep and Surrendering to the Sun, all these like beautiful wisdom pieces that would come through. And I met so many amazing people. That's when my journey really began. I was like, started to meet the parts of me that were really insecure, and I had a lot of unworthiness and a lot of self-hatred, all these things I didn't know I was burying, which seemed to be felt in where my cancer was, interestingly. And the songs were just giving me a blueprint to actually go there and feel that, because I'm also, I think, probably quite on the spectrum. A lot of us are musicians. It's like I don't necessarily always feel directly.
I know what you mean.
Like, yeah, right? Like,
My friend calls it neurospiciness.
it's neurospicy.
All musicians are neurospicy.
Yeah, I think so. I'm getting through like ADHD and autism diagnosis at the moment, like ADHD, and I tend to like
So we call
see
it
things
ADHD. I've
conceptually.
never heard that before. That's quite cool.
It's a little combo. It's a little
Nice.
like 2 for 1. So we'll see. We'll see what the verdict is.
That's hilarious.
Definitely got the ADHD who feel that. But it's like people will say like, how are you feeling right now? And I'll be like, what do you mean? How do you know how you're feeling? That was where I was coming from at the start of this journey. And then it was like, the music was helping me. If I was like talking, I didn't know what was going on or what I was feeling. But if I started to sing, it would come out like, I don't know, like, yeah. Vulnerable, that's the color of my mood. These things would come out. I'm like, okay, I'm grieving right now. Or it was so conceptual to me. I had to really learn how to get deep, get inside the body and what she's saying, her feeling, her emotion. And then So this album, I met Bluey Monique. Do you know Incognito?
Yeah, of course.
So I met Bluey through when I was 11 years old. I met Bluey.
Wow.
Because he was a friend of my auntie's, and met him on 9/11, the Twin Towers Day. I remember sitting in his studio watching the towers come down. That was the only time I ever heard of this guy. And then just completely unrelated, when I was writing this album through cancer, his trumpet player, Tarek, I think, he was a friend of mine at the time, mentioned me to Bluey, because Bluey loves helping musicians and raw talent, and he's got a soft spot for your story. And
That's amazing.
so he came in and he was like, well, you can use my studio. And within months, there was a point in my journey where they thought I might only have weeks to live because all treatment had failed. So I was given 3 weeks to live. I had a 21 centimetre tumour in my chest. I was singing this music and feeling things and healing things in my body, but the cancer wasn't. It was progressing. It was really scary, but I got into the studio and I recorded this album, and it just poured through me. And as soon as I got these recordings, like this quality of being able to hear that medicine back started to change the way I thought about healing cancer. And instead of trying to do something to get it out of my body, I decided to stop all treatment. And, I did a lot of different things, like health-wise, but I decided to just go straight to the source of those emotions, and the music helped me to do that. And it's a much longer story of a lot of different people that came in to help and support in different threads of like the hospital, like medical, like immunotherapy, things like that. But essentially, after stopping the treatment that had been making it worse and being told there was no other road, within months I did go into a mad spontaneous remission after going
what happened to the mass?
The mass started to literally shrink. I had radio. It's crazy. I did have radiotherapy like before I stopped, but they said it was such a fast progression. They said the best you can hope for is like maybe a few centimeters, but to get rid of like the most of it, you're gonna have to even if radiotherapy healed a lot of the mass, I'd have to have a stem cell transplant because it was so aggressive and alive that there's no way you can kill blood cancer with radiotherapy. You have to have this whole procedure to have all of. So radio plus the deep emotional work, all this stuff. But 4 months after I stopped radio, and it wasn't getting much smaller, it started to literally just. With the way I was delving in and unpacking emotional stuff, it rapidly shrunk out of nowhere, and they didn't understand how that could happen. Like radio couldn't have done that. So it was just absolutely crazy. And then they said, if you don't have a stem cell now, like this is unexplainable and amazing what's happened. But if you don't have a stem cell transplant now to cure your blood of blood cancer, it will come straight back, and you very likely will not be here for more than a few months. And I never went back for that treatment because I had such a deep sense in my body that there was something else that I was doing, that where I used to bury and run and bury in this place in me, this pain that I couldn't look at, that I hated, I wasn't doing that anymore. And the more I was going into it, the more my body seemed to be responding. And this is just mine. I don't speak for other people. I think cancer is so different for everyone. There's not one reason we have it. But it was just my understanding that if I could create harmony inside my being, then my body was sort of responding to that, and the cells were responding to that. And so I was like, well, I'm going to keep going. And I was also told I was completely infertile. I had so much chemo that would have knocked out my fertility. Even after 1 or 2 chemos, they said, I went and got tested at a fertility clinic. They said, there's no way your fertility's not coming back. And I had 1 fallopian tube. So I'm just laying it all on there. Crazy, anyway. Yeah. I ended up getting pregnant 8 weeks after my clear scan, and I just knew it was bigger than just cancer. My whole body was like resurrecting from whatever, like a new way I've been looking at stuff. And I read loads of Joe Dispenza and loads of amazing things. I was just
going to say his name.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
It's because I'm reading your mind.
Right? The blue book, that I read that when I was, must have been 18, 19.
Really?
And I didn't really realise the power of a thing. And is it called Evolve Your Brain?
I don't know the first one because I read You Are the Placebo.
Yeah, I think it's called Evolve Your Brain. Sorry if this is wrong, Joe, but... Yeah, when he talks about getting hit by a car, completely paralysed, every bone in his body, like he couldn't move.
Exactly.
And then he
That's what
lies on a
hit.
bed, and obviously he was like a spinal expert, so he understood the mechanics of a spine. But he lay there and basically every day thought about the crux and the bits of his spine, and thought them well.
Yes.
And then was doing like marathons and stuff within like a couple of years. Like,
Yeah.
what? And then I
Yeah.
realised that I was like, oh, I don't have to. I think from once I read that book, I realised that you can kind of just completely trick your brain into loads of stuff.
Yes.
And if you delve, like you said, if you delve deep enough, you can kind of undo loads of things that you once thought. Because I never thought that neuroplasticity was a thing. I always thought it was just like, oh, your brain's going to be like that forever.
Neural pathways and the way they shoot and yeah.
Like when they fire together, they wire together, right? It was one of those phrases, isn't it?
Yes.
And I was like, oh, okay. Then I realised that a lot of the ways that I've been thinking, I didn't have to think like this. I didn't have to be like diminutive about myself or about, the way I am or my actions. I can actually be positive about it and try and build some confidence that way.
Yeah, you can change it, yeah.
So you read, which book did you read first? The placebo one?
Well, it was a big, long journey. So I was at the cancer treatment and all that, from starting to failing and being told I was no other options. That was like a 2-year thing. But the first book I found was The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle,
Amazing.
classic. And that fell into my lap the week before I was diagnosed. I was praying. I never knew. Back then, it was weird. 10 years ago, people didn't talk about the universe or meditate. It was quite underground. But on Deal or No Deal, Noel Edmonds said one time.
That deep thinking, Noel Edmonds.
Noel Edmonds, I thank you for my healing.
You healed me.
Yeah, literally. He was like, I asked the universe. And I thought, that's such a funny expression. I never heard anyone say that. So before I was diagnosed, I was feeling like, as I said, this existential weird shit in my body. And I was like, okay, universe, if you're real, like, send me some guidance. And then, like, someone told me about this meditation group. And then my dad sent me this Power Now, which is a book I had seen someone reading years ago and caught my eye. So I started to read it. It was like 2 weeks before all this stuff happened. Then I went to this meditation group and made this really important ally with a teacher who, really helped me. And he was teaching The Power of Now. And I was like, that's so weird. And then I think it was the next week after I did 2 meditation groups, and then I was diagnosed like a few days later, and I had this map, luckily, of The Power of Now. And then I read You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay, which is an amazing book, really about how, just the connection of everything, every emotion, every way you're feeling about yourself, what you came in with, your past trauma, how all of that maps our body and our health, and how we can really help our body's health physically through that emotional healing. And so that was right there from the beginning. Again, I think actually that book I started reading before I was diagnosed. It was so weird. And then I got to the end of the book and I'd been diagnosed, and it said this was a book I wrote when I was going through cancer. I was like, that's fucking crazy.
Wow.
So those were the first few. And then I was like, lots of other things like Gabby Bernstein's books that are really like self-help coaching, changing your mindset, loving yourself, having a daily practice, all that. And then I think Joe came in, good old Joe Dispenza, right at the point where I'd been doing so much emotional healing and beautiful work, but it wasn't reflecting in the cancer and the cellular level. And I was like, hey, something needs to change. And then when I read You Are the Placebo, which he does talk about all the same things that you described, I was like, okay, I like this, because the reason I didn't feel like I could heal through the alkaline diets and the energy healing and the chemo and all this was because I was like, that's something, I can't give my power to that thing. It didn't make sense. Like, I feel like my healing needs to come directly from within me. Didn't know why, but that's what I felt. And when he said, like, you can give that placebo power to anything, I was like, well, then I'm going to give that to myself, and I'm going to be the one to directly speak to the cells in my body. And it actually took getting the phone call and being told I was might not live for a few more weeks, that I hit this point. I was reading Joe Dispenza, and then I hit this point where I broke down. I let myself feel for the first time. I'd been so on the positive mindset stuff. I was like, why me? God, life, universe, why me? And the second that I've allowed that uprising of pure genuine, authentic emotion that I'd been almost trying to like
repressing it.
bypass.
Yeah.
I felt this surge of energy going, now you understand, like, because I was going, why me, God, why me, universe? And he was like, but I am you. The thing you're talking to, I am you. And I am you, and you are one speaking is you, and the cancer is you, and it's all you. And I just had something clicked in my being, and I was looking at Dr. Joe's words, and I was like, oh my God, like, I can heal this. It's not that I'm doing it and I'm the one, but I don't know, just like, the oneness of everything. I just had this awakening, and I was like, I can do something with this. And whether I live or die wasn't the goal of like healing. It was more being so suddenly understanding that it was sacred. Cancer was sacred too. Like, all of it had a sacredity and a value in that moment. To me, I realized there was nothing wrong, and it wasn't that the cancer was an enemy and there was this opposition. It was like, actually, everything was love, and I could choose if I wanted to approach this healing in that way, and it would make a difference. And it did for me. And I find it edgy talking about it sometimes, because I don't want to be a spokesperson for everybody else's healing journey, because I think we all have a different medicine. But that was my one. So yeah.
But the evidence is pretty compelling.
Yeah.
Though when you say it went from, what do you say, 21 centimeters at one
21
point?
centimeters.
Which is fucking massive.
Massive. I mean, they said to me, I was laying there every night doing all my meditations, knowing that any minute it could crush an organ. It could, I could have a heart attack or a collapsed lung, or I could die at any moment in my sleep, because it was the weight of it. I remember turning on one side, it would just feel like literally half my torso was filled with this mass. And it was just such a bizarre thing, having everybody else sort of say, get rid of the cancer, it's an enemy. But me having this experience of like, this is me, this is matter. And all cancer it's mad, like all cancer is matter, like creation, creating in the wrong place, but it's actually just life force. And I was like, well, cells. If it's life force and cells, like, how can I understand these cells and get to know them so deeply that they don't have to create here, and they can sort of integrate to the rest of wherever they're meant to be, creating whatever the life force is meant to be doing. So yeah, I would just lay with it, like, started to love it, started to really treat it like an ally, and hey, I'm so sorry, and that you've had to go through all of this, and you feel unworthy, and I'd unpick all these layers. I remember this key point where I'd finished treatment, and I was really unwell from radio and chemo, and I was like going through this like super sweaty, hallucinating, shamanic moments with the emotion that was trapped here, and I would be vomiting like just white foam that even if I ate, there was nothing coming up except for like emotion and memory, and then I would purge and vomit, and it was like water. It was so weird. It was like my body was releasing something from their cells, but just crazy. And as I was going through that purging and understanding all of that, the cancer was shrinking, and the matter in my body was changing and dispersing, and just crazy stuff.
So it's a form of, I get it almost makes it sound like a form of like trauma that's kind of manifested within the cells, and all this thing of you like just holding on like that, and then something that's like developing through that. Yeah,
it's like you're telling your body, hey, like I'm not worthy, I'm angry, I'm hurt, but you're not feeling it, and it's like, okay, you're cool, I'll take this on for you, like I'll put it here in this tumor.
Did you have some guttural crying moments? Because I find that sometimes my friend always says that to me, like when he has those guttural crying moments, it's almost like his brain has reached a resolution of some kind, like, I've kind of like developed past this point, I've learned a lot about this situation, and now my brain is like just like purging, and like not just your brain but your body and everything is like purging, and it almost feels like a moment of growth and resolution.
100%. And that was the final stage of healing. As I said, I'd done every course and every positive thinking and blissed out through all of it, and like cancer's the best thing ever. And it got to the point where I got angry and I cried, and I went, this is the bridge between like everything I've learned and applying it into manifest so it can change in form. And yeah, and then I started getting into what I call really deep feminine healing. I don't mean that through gender and woman, but like the felt sense, the body of life, the emotion. Then I started to move my body and get into embodiment work, and would feel the feeling and let myself move it through song or dance or continually. Now I have to, as a person, take a daily practice where I sit and I'll let my body express what it needs to. It might weep, she might rage, I might need to dance and have fun, but the body holds the key for everything. And I think we, in the way we think, it can be so patriarchal in the sense like we colonize our body. We're like, no, I'm gonna take control of this. My brain's gonna think it away. But I've had to undo that now, and I have to be someone that's very sensory. And like you said, that guttural crying, and that's so healing.
Your body keeps the score, right? It's like that thing. It knows what's going on. Yeah, we have a saying in our house. Well, I've tried to coin this phrase, like, a dance a day keeps the therapist away.
Oh, I love
so
that.
So we just have a little, if me and wife are feeling a bit annoyed at each other or frustrated, we'll just have put a little 3-minute song on.
Oh, I love
that. Bluetooth speaker and just dance around.
Yeah.
The kids love it.
That's what we're making music for at the moment, for that use. Yeah, it's 100%. That's what music can do for us.
Yeah, pink. Like when we lived in London, we lived in this fairly small house, and we used to literally pick up the boys, and there was this particular Pink song called I Am Here, and I've got this memories of just running from one side, holding the boys, but holding them forward, so they'd be looking at each other, almost racing towards each other, but with this Pink song playing, and just running back and forth.
Yeah.
I am here, just these kids going, just absolutely loving life.
Oh, it's so true. It's the best, and it's the universal language. Whether you're a kid or an adult, at any age, you can move things off and move through things with the music. And I also now I do offer sound healing, and I hold spaces for these things, and a lot of static dance and all this stuff. It's so powerful, and I don't think without our art, everything I've just said that I've been through, definitely I wouldn't be able to do any of that. It doesn't make sense from the brain. People were like, there's no way you could do that. It's completely impossible. I'm like, yeah, you're right. It is, because it comes from somewhere else, and music plugs us in.
Yeah, it's a very hard thing to explain to people.
Yeah, you can't use words.
You shrinked cancer through writing music? What?
It's not as simple as that, but kind of, yeah. There's not many people I can talk to on this level about it. And I think being in the public eye now and becoming a little bit more successful in my career, with obviously finally getting credited on all the things I wasn't credited.
Is that happening more now then?
Yeah, so I've had a really big year this year, and I've wanted to bring more of my depth through, but almost a bit afraid to be in the limelight and speak in this way. But this is really good because I'm warming up and starting to feel how am I going to present this story to the world in a way that doesn't alienate or create more opposition, but people can receive and relate with. And basically this year I finally released that Get Deep album that I told you about. Took 7-8 years since I made it, and I think the reason, partly from our first thing we were talking about, trying to control it, trying to this has to be my big resurrection moment, and things in my life have to look this way, and it's just a big story that I'm going to release, and realize actually this was just for me, this album. This was my healing. It didn't have to, I wanted it to have all the bells and whistles and loads of money and get it out there to help other people. But I was I got to the point where I was bashing my head up against a wall, parenting, trying to do the industry. And I was I'm just going to release my album now for myself, because I'm not okay. I can feel I haven't yet got to the bit where I'm letting go of this journey now and healing and moving on and being in this part of my life. And I think I need to release the album to do that. So I put it out in a quiet way. It was really big for me emotionally. I said goodbye to an 8-9 year chapter, whatever. And then I had a call from Nathan Dorr, who's one of the UK's biggest house DJs. And they wanted me to come and do a session. Bear in mind, at this point, I'd been in the songwriting world, in the dance world, for 4 or 5 years, songwriting my whole life. But and I still hadn't been able to get any of the success that my voice from the Splice Pack had. But as soon as I went in with Nathan, I'd released my album, I was something had integrated in me. And I went into the room, I was I'm just going to do the same thing I did in the Splice Pack. And I was just here in your arms, I'll be right here waiting, singing something I needed to hear. I'm scared of love, but I won't leave, I'm staying. And it was a song, ringing in my ear. It was a song about me committing to myself and my life, because I kept feeling like, why did I go through all that stuff? And then I never even released my album, and nothing ever good happened in the end, apart from the amazing things that did happen, becoming a mother. Anyway, it was like basically me forgiving myself and saying, I just let a song pour out that was authentic, long story short. And Nathan was like, I love it, I want to release it as my next single. And I was like, just like that, my God. I put down the rat race, gave up, released my album, and then that just came to me with no effort.
Nice.
And then that was the first major song that I'd ever been credited on that had my name on it, and it went into the top 40 February this year. It stayed there for like 8 weeks, and then I had a Joel Corey single, and I had a few more off the back of that. Dubs, we went #1 Billboard in America with a dub song I did. So at the start of this year I kind of let something go, and then it all started to get credit, and I started a TikTok, and then was like telling my story, like, I'm the singer behind Don't You Think Like That, I Will Love You Endlessly. And what's my other big one? Let's take it back to a time when we were so much in love. So I like started singing that on TikTok, and I got like 50,000 people following me all of a sudden, and it all started to come full circle, like, okay, now I'm getting to reconcile the old Success Anonymous stuff with my name. And then it was like starting at 0 point again, and then I was like, okay, now I need to find out who I am as an artist, like I did all those years ago when I had cancer. I was like, I need to do that again. I need to go find my team. And that's when I found King Wizard, and that leads me to now just actually getting ready to tell my story now. And with my new music, I want to create a big movement next year that it does tell my journey and what I've been through, but it inspires and helps others, because it's taken me that long to be ready to do that. And I'm thinking of a movement called Take It Back. I'm going to release my own version of So Much in Love, and Take It Back's going to be all about really taking back your worth, and not in a way that like other people over, or not in a way that is oppositional, but in a way that you recognize you were all along worthy, and there's nowhere to get to. You can just, if I can just receive my own worth again and my own artistry, and release my own music again with my name on it, I hope that might, my story might inspire people that have, don't know, they've had to go through a lot in their career and have a lot taken away, and it's like, no, nothing can take that place. That's your artistry, that's your untouchable space. So I kind of like doing the same thing I did with the cancer, but full circle.
Yeah.
That was a bit of a ramble, but yeah.
No, it's great. And I think it's kind of scary, and it's unconventional thinking like that about medicine. And I think it's very refreshing for people to hear that, that can be changed in a different way. And, there's probably millions of stories where that chemotherapy has made people feel absolutely horrendous and hasn't really worked for them, and just made them feel super unwell at the end of their lives.
Yeah.
And just, that must be very kind of hard to deal with. And I think it's a tricky thing to say to people, isn't it? Delve deep into your feelings. Because I think also we live in a British society where there's lots of things that people find. I find, actually, to be fair, when I lived in London, I found that people down here are more open to talking about these things. And I actually feel it's like, I don't know why it is, like certain people live in certain areas. Yeah, maybe it's the sea.
Yeah.
People who move towards the sea and gravitate towards that. I feel like in London, like, it was harder to kind of talk about certain things, and harder to talk about emotions, and people weren't as open or as friendly, really, in certain areas of London. I'm sure there are pockets of London where this is not true, but I found as soon as I moved down here, there were a lot more people that were kind of willing to talk about things, a lot more open, a lot more talking about mental health, a lot more charity things going on all over the place. There's loads of groups down here where men kind of get together, go on walks, and they talk about like mental health problems, and talk about things. And there's podcasts, people are always talking about being open, and there's Dad La Soul, which is obviously like a cool...
in that Audioactive, they do some events, right?
Yeah. So I had the manager on from Audioactive. So Nick came on.
Oh, I know Nick.
Yeah. So we talked about that. And then another guy called Tej, or Paul, is another guy who came on, who's a drummer. And he kind of introduced me to the guys at Dad La Soul. And I went down, and I don't know, there seems to be a lot of people talking about these things and not kind of just hiding away. And I think when people hear, I remember, I don't know what you felt like, when I started reading, people would say it's like self-help books, which I think is a bit of a kind of a strange way to think about them, when a lot of them are really like psychology books or things about like neuroscience, like a lot, especially the Dispenser ones. And I think that, I don't know what you felt, but I felt a lot of people were like, what's he doing that for? Like turning their nose up at it.
Yes.
Being a bit just like diminutive about it and thinking, why is he doing that?
Yeah, there's a stigma.
Well, I'm actually looking to develop certain things in a different way. Like, I don't think it needs to be, you know, a negative thing. I think, if anything, I'm just trying to like delve deeper and work out why my brain is wired the way it is.
Yeah.
And why I'm feeling like a certain like tenseness. Even when I perform, I remember just feeling like uneasy and kind of just tense and like rigid in my own body. And like feel like I was just holding stuff. Like, I feel like for me a lot of is in my shoulders.
Yeah.
When I kind of feel my body just doing this. Don't know if it was linked to something when I was a kid, like, you know, being told off, or something was linked to me doing this. So then when it happens, I'm like, okay, relax your shoulders, Max.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember learning a lot from reading those books and just thinking, oh, okay, there are different ways to think about these things. Like, this is not set in stone.
Yeah.
Like, all of this doesn't have to be this way. Especially when you're doing something like music, it's so like everything's always changing, like it's moving. Like, why does your brain have to be kind of like static and set in this way for your whole life?
Yeah.
And I just tried to like trick it, do like certain things and be like, right, I'm going to think this thought for a day, or think it for a couple of hours and see how my brain feels.
Yeah.
Like, I used to do this thing where I would do like just say to myself, you're going to smash this gig, or you're going to play this gig really well, just like for a whole day, and see how I performed. And it was always the best gig that I've ever played, or like I felt really comfortable on stage. Like, you're going to kill this gig tonight. Just say that repeatedly for the day. And I'd also have this weird, I don't know what, it's like a strange way of like warming up on the saxophone, where it's like you kind of like force yourself into a flow state, but you like focus on something really intently. It could be like I don't know, like something out there. And then you play the saxophone in this way that's like the best you've ever played it. And you play like a couple of phrases and then you stop, because it's quite tiring doing it for long periods.
Wow.
And then you kind of just like chill out, maybe like speak to someone else, and you go back and do it for a little bit. And I found every time that I came to the saxophone, then when I did the gig, it's the best I'd ever played, because your brain has almost like learnt, everything you play is like really good. You're not just being like lazy, just like playing around.
Yeah.
It was like the way that you almost wanted to play the saxophone from day one.
So you were changing your neural pathway, breaking
Just
down
tricking
those
it,
habits by just small little...
Yeah, and I always say to myself, when I taught, I don't teach anymore, but I used to teach, I used to say like, if you want to create like a good sound on saxophone, it's one of the hardest things to do, I think.
Right.
The things that, you know, people learn for like 15 years and they really like just still do like long notes and try and work on the sound. Just try and get into the habit of always playing with the best sound in your head possible. Like always having the best tone, not just being like, I'm just going to phone it in and just play some bits. Just being like, no, how do I create the best sound possible? Like in my head, how do I do that? And then do it every single day and just think like that. And eventually, if you do that for a month, your sound will be massively different. Because your body goes like, just like relax your throat, or do a certain thing, or change, the way, even the way your shoulders are will change the way you play. Because it's linked to... Because you have to do this exercise in saxophone where it's all linked to your larynx. So if you play like a low note, your larynx is supposed to be really relaxed.
Yeah.
But if you play a really high one, it's supposed to be really taut.
Yeah.
So it's very similar to singing. So I used to do that all the time and trick my brain. I think that was from the Dispenser stuff, just tricking it, being like, no.
Yeah, exactly. And it seems to be there's two pathways for me. There is the mindset, neuroscience. It's like radical self-responsibility, really understanding your triggers and more analytical, pathological way of healing and changing and evolving and transforming as a person. And then there's also the way of the body that's more fluid, and you almost have to leave that state, kind of like when women go into labor, how what we enter. And that's I sort of call them, that's kind of like the feminine realm for me, and this is the masculine realm, not to do with gender, but the way I try to understand these two states almost, and it's when they're in union. So like you're doing a lot of that brain stuff to like get your mind out the way and to forge new pathological ways of being. But then comes a time where you have to almost like put that down and let the body then take it from there and move and cry and grieve or whatever, and be in that more flow state, like out of your analysis. And I think a big part of my journey started out with all of that stuff, like really like almost like cancer's not real, like not like showing myself like all this stuff and positive mindset and changing my habits and triggers. And then in order to actually, and that made me feel amazing, and I changed my mindset and I was like such a better version of myself. But then when the cancer was still growing, I had to then take that same awareness down somehow into the body, and that was then through the emotion and through the like with everything we talked about earlier, like that was a whole different state. I had to almost like forget and unlearn some of that. Be like, oh, I can't think this away, like actually I've got to now get out of the way and come into the unknown, surrender to the mystery of like the senses and or whatever, however life wanted to move me. And it is like an endless thing, I think, of each medicine for each moment. Like it's not always about doing that work, about changing my mindset. It's not always about the other way. Right now, I think I need more of the mindset, because I've been in such a permissive allowing of every emotion and allowing of like energy and eros to move me as it wants to. But then I get into ruts and spirals where I forget actually like self-responsibility and like that I can change things through my mind. Like I get like addicted to the emotional healing sometimes, and I'm like, and then sometimes I get addicted to this, and it's just a forever
ADHD thing as well that you're talking about.
Probably.
I think that's that hyper focus, right?
Yes.
Because I didn't realise, I think I have definitely like little parts of it. My mate was reading out, because he's going through like a diagnosis at the moment, he was reading out some of this what is it, the symptoms,
the
or
form thing,
the forms, the certain things that you do, and I was like, yeah, I definitely do that.
Yeah.
Like obsessing over I think as a musician, especially if you write music, like having to obsess over like one bit and be like really focusing in on that.
Yeah.
It's definitely like an ADHD thing, right?
Yeah, I think so. That I get hyper-focused really bad, and like perfectionism, like you talked about earlier.
Yeah. And it
that
can be
makes
draining,
sense,
though.
Shoulders. Because it's
Yeah.
up and it's hold yourself together and present yourself in this way. Like that makes sense.
Yeah, I've definitely got some neurospiciness going on.
I think you'd have to be that great at like music and stuff. I think we all do. I think a lot of us creatives.
Well, there's loads of podcasts that talk about ADHD being a superpower for creatives. Because if you didn't have it, you probably wouldn't be able to focus or be, as good at that one thing.
Yeah, that's true. And also music is so non-linear. Like it's a gift to be able to, you're a multitasker, I think, with ADHD. You can take in the language of music, you can focus on a million things at once. It's not always like helpful with normal everyday tasks, but it's something about the way you can, the way music and creativity comes through is like in sort of pieces, and you can decode it better, or like you can get into that flow state easier when you're able to allow your brain kind of shoots off in the way that needs to for that to happen. I don't know if that makes sense, but like when I'm working with very neurotypical people in dance music or whatever, and they're very rigid, and they look at a formula of like how to make a song, and then they bash away at it, and I'm like, oh man, I can't do this. This isn't how it works for me.
No, it's too formulaic.
Yeah, exactly. And quite often those are the sessions where the songs aren't very good, and that's not against neurotypical people. I'm like, oh, amazing. So many amazing neurotypical friends that I'm like, I wish I could do what you do. Yeah. But it's not the same. You can't be a conduit in quite the same fashion.
No, you can't just let it through you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's apparently one of the reasons why musicians often have good memories, is that we can compartmentalize thoughts and memories into like little boxes. So we almost put them we almost connotate them with like an emotion or a memory or like a certain colour or a certain theme, and we can like put them in a box, and then we have loads of those in our brain. Apparently that's why I got loads of musician friends who've got ridiculous memories, especially for like dates or numbers or things that need to be put into small boxes. And I think that's one of the reasons why musicians often have good brains in that sense.
Oh, that's good to know.
Put it in like little bits. little boxes in our heads.
Yeah, and then that compartmentalizing is such a superpower until it's a curse, because then you're like, sometimes you need to process something and you're like, oh, what box did I put that in? I was like, my mum's like that. She's just like amazing at just like coping actually with an insane amount of stuff that not many people could, and a lot of neurospicy people can take on a lot and cope with a lot. Like when I had cancer, it was like, how do you do that? It's like, because I can dissociate and I can just compartmentalize, and then you do have to go back and deal with it at some point, and that can be the challenge. But
do you use, like, as what you said about like dancing and moving, do you have like exercise that you do as well which you think have helped?
Yeah, I mean, I've always done yoga forever. I love it. Did that every single day while I had cancer, and I still do it at least 3 or 4 times a week now. And that's obviously such a great way to connect the body and the mind and the breath. And that's the main thing of yoga, isn't it?
Feeling after yoga is like nothing else.
Yeah.
The feeling, you're just like in and out. It's like you feel just like really calm.
Coherence and
amazing.
Presence, yeah. That's really helped me. And then because of the type of person I am that can get very up to my head and dissociative, and even yoga you can use as a rigid, you can accidentally use it to be more rigid sometimes. I really need dance, so I dance daily. I do intuitive types of movement. Since going on this kind of more deep feminine healing led path with lots of women I've studied with, learned more about my body as the gatekeeper of emotion, and just I really find intuitive dance to be like a lifesaver. So I'll light a little candle, and I usually start with, as I said, like letting my body move how she wants to move, and that might be, so if I feel like I'm feeling stuck or insecure, I'll like make this movement, and then I'll hold myself in perfect presence with the physical representation of how I'm feeling until it wants to move into something else. And then it might be like, like stretching open, and I'll do that. And then sometimes I might cry or rage and stamp my feet, whatever. And then I'll let that turn into like just music, and it's euphoric. And then I quite often put on euphoric music and dance. And I go to a dance class at Splash Point. Charlene, shout out, she's incredible, Body Jam. Do that every week. It's just dance fitness, which just that gives me like a warrior energy. And something I'm really realizing recently is actually why exercise really does help us with healing and like self-development or whatever, because when you actually exercise yourself and you become stronger in your core, it really affects your mind as well, doesn't it? My boundaries get better. I'm seeing myself more upright, and I'm able to say no to stuff that's draining me, or I'm able to be more self-responsible. I go less into victim mode when I'm healthy and fit. So yeah, I'm trying to stay on top of that now, because I've always been good at the flowy stuff. I'm getting a bit better now at the disciplined fitness stuff as well. I
think men have that. It's almost, I know it's like a ticking over of like testosterone, but you can tell like some people just need to do a workout.
Yeah,
you see them, they're just like little things are annoying them. If you've done like a half an hour kettlebell workout and you go down, things just don't annoy you anymore.
Interesting.
You're literally just like, whatever. You can feel this like sense of calm, because your body's I think of my dad when I think of this, like you can tell that if he did, he's very against exercise.
Against it, wow.
100%. Because it's linked to like loads of stuff for him.
Well, it opens like stuff up, yeah.
But it's linked to memories of certain parts of his life which he hated. But he is one of the people where I would be like, just go and do like something for half an hour. Yeah. And I guarantee little things would just dissipate from your life.
Yes.
They would not even be in your mind anymore.
Yeah.
You'd just be like, I'm so relaxed.
Yeah. But it's interesting how when you're not ready to let go of those things on a subconscious level, speaking from personal experience, like I actually couldn't work out for years after some of the cancer trauma stuff, because I would feel and meet too many memories. Like when you open up your body, you open up that. It's really so linked, isn't it? And it's 100%. Interesting how that is.
Yeah, it's also catharsis, isn't it? It's like a release. Like you said, it's almost like animalistic. Like, I don't think we're meant to be kind of just sitting down and, kind of stationary and doing all these things for hours on end. Yeah. Like, I don't think that's how we were made. Evolutionary-wise, I don't think we were ever like that before.
No.
And I think forcing your body into that is really quite dangerous.
It is, and I think that's why we've got such a epidemic of sickness and chronic health and ADHD and all the rest of it.
Anxiety,
because we're not living how we're meant to live, and that's why I had to book this beach house for music, because I realised, like, when I was going up to London, you are on the train, you're like that, and then you get there and you're in a room and you're like that. I have to, when I'm here writing with my friends 4-5 nights at a time, I'm like over there doing Downward Dog, and then I'm up dancing, like writing a song during, like, I don't know, moving and shaking and laughing with my gay best friend who's also my manager, like, and we're just silly, and I have to move and change my state for the song to come through. Sometimes I'll be like, oh, I don't have that verse. 1 second, get into, like, go out to the ocean, shake my body, like do a little bit of breathing, stuff like that, and I'm like, oh, I know what I want to say now, and I have to do that. And it was fun the other day, actually. It was on Tuesday, something had happened where someone had really overstepped my boundaries, and I'm not very good at being direct and communicating when that happens. I'll like bury it. I think a lot of us do. And I knew that I needed to leave this place and go to my dance class with Charlene, who was like this queen energy, and we were writing. The guys had said, maybe you should write an angry song. I was like, oh, but at the moment, the feeling of anger was unpleasant, because anger is actually a beautiful, erotic, amazing, alive feeling, I think, when it's a healthy version. It's like, change, like, I know, like protecting myself. And I don't know, it's almost like an expression of, creation energy, really. That you need when you need to change something, or you need to like stand in your power. Anyway, it was presenting as frustration and suppressed anger. So I went to dance class, danced with all these amazing women, had a chat with my amazing teacher who inspires me as a woman, and I came back and I was like, I'm gonna write a song called I'm a Queen, and I like put this on. I started to sing like, I'm gonna put my boundaries, you can't go, you don't own me, and like through the song and through the movement, I made the most amazing, had the biggest healing, and I felt amazing after that. And my anger just became something that was quiet and centered and made me feel more alive and more self-responsible and able to be healthy in my communication, rather than anger being a destructive force of suppressed eros or abusive kind of projection. And that's a big journey I've been on, actually, as a woman and a writer, is like how to hold my anger in a really healthy way. So that was a bit of a tangent again, but yeah.
No, I think a thread that has run through this podcast, though, is you've got to feel the negative emotion to get something positive from it. And it's such a big part of us, that negativity, and is always going to be there. It's always going to be there in different forms. And if you constantly try and avoid it and run away from it, then that is so much worse for you.
Yeah.
It's so much more dangerous.
Exactly. And
that is, I think there's a lot of problem with British culture, is that running away from those inevitable negative feelings that we've just buried.
Exactly. Very British.
Yes. No, it's okay. It's okay, darling. All fine. Stiff upper lip.
It's true. And then going even one level deeper, that through my more recent learnings in the last couple of years, is that, they were never negative. The negative part was the way I understood it to be uncomfortable, and therefore it was a worse feeling than happiness or joy. But actually the negative thing is like, that's where I've learned to pedestal the I don't know, like the more nice, comfortable feelings as more sacred or more worthy of than grief. And grief can feel blissful, rage can feel blissful, euphoric. And I remember my teacher once, one of my teachers of this, saying like rage should be ferocity plus bliss, like anger should feel like ferocity plus bliss, like a jaguar poised, protecting her young, knows what she wants. But we've learned anger, for example, as abuse or projection or tightness, because we don't actually, the problem is we're not allowing that quality of substance of experience to move through us. We're in a society that in Western anyway, we teach to bury that, and it's
control
like
yourself.
wow, yeah, exactly. Like chop it off. And even in spiritual teachings, there's a lot of patriarchal thinking that gets in the way. It's like we focus more on the transcending a state or ascending and kind of going beyond the body and beyond the emotion. But there's another way we can really touch life and touch the spiritual path through the gateway of those emotions and through accepting and embracing them. And I think that's kind of what's happening at the moment when people in spiritual language say the rising of the divine feminine. They're kind of talking about that. It's like, I don't have to just kind of think away and bypass what I'm feeling. I can actually access the divinity that I am, or the bigger thing of life that's beyond the human, through those emotions and through embracing those things. So like not even just allowing them, but actually embracing them and being like, this is sacred. And I guess that's kind of what I did for cancer as well. It's like cancer, emotions, rage, grief, all those things. Now I try to listen to them as such worthy, wise teachers. And when we had the pandemic, that was my lens was like, wow, COVID is like a mass grief thing. It was so hard for so many people. And
good way to slow down as well.
Yeah, but it forced us all to feel. And that was Mother Nature being like, hey, you know, whether it's you see it as nature or love-made, it was our bodies teaching us, like, you know, feel and stop.
Yeah.
It was intense.
Let me just quickly check the time.
Yeah, of course, you got school pickup.
It's rock and roll.
Sorry, I was late, boys. I was in the existential meaning of life.
I think we're all right, actually. Oh, yeah, it's only half one.
Oh, that's good. Well, we covered so many things in that time.
Yeah, it's the joy of podcasting. You can just kind of chop little bits out. Yeah, I definitely think that's the thread that's running through, and something that I've been toying with is like, you've got to feel like yin and yang almost. You've got to have those darker thoughts. Like I don't know if this is a male thing or if this was like part of the reason why I had problems before, but I was always trying and fix things, and I still try and do it to this day. Like if I'm feeling a bit shit or if I'm feeling a bit down, what I will often do is either do a workout, have a cold shower, do some kind of like cold therapy, or some meditation. Yeah. And I think what I'm trying to do is just like, if I am feeling a bit shit, just allowing it to be like that for a bit, and just allowing it, like Max isn't feeling like 100% today, and just being like, that's all right. And I think that's definitely linked to like behavior in my childhood, like having to almost be perfect in a way, or be like, that would definitely affect the way that people would react to me, or the kind of like relationship that I have in my house would be linked to that. Whether if I was in a good mood, then it would be a really good day. If I was in a bad mood, then you get kind of like bollock for it.
Exactly, I had the same, yeah.
So I was just like, well, I've always got to be perfect then. So I think now I'm really trying to just be like, if I'm feeling a bit shit, I'm trying not to always like fix it.
Yeah.
And be like, you've got to be great all the time. It's like, that's not human. It's not like a human way to be. Like, you've got to allow yourself those times when you just feel not 100%. And I think that links back to the perfect thing of the music being perfect. Everything's got to be really good. But then in a way, you're getting in your own way and actually making the music more, in a way, more like AI, more robotic, more just like, that's not human. Humans are about like, you know, the chaos, and humans are about making mistakes. And the thing about like having a perfect like Ming vase, people would often put like a crack in it to then make it more interesting. Yeah. And then to make it more like, you know, real and more expensive because of that. Yes. And I think that's also ties into what you were saying, like your music is going to be more interesting when it's a lot more raw, a lot more you, a lot more just like... No, actually, one question I was thinking about asking you as well is, do you feel like you need affirmation from the outside world to feel artistically satisfied?
I think most of my path that has been the case, yes. I think if I was being really honest, because I'd love to sit here, especially having been on such a big journey of unpacking things like that and becoming more belonging of myself and more worthy in my own skin. I'd love to be like, oh yes, I've reached a place where the validation from the external world doesn't matter, because now I understand, you know, my internal worthiness. But I'm so human, I will never feel like that. On some level, I will always want to feel that validation. But what I can get good at is noticing when that's happening and going, hey, Abby, remember, that's not the goal. I've got you. And I think I just have to always know about myself that as someone who has got a lot of trauma, who did perform a lot as a child and feel a lot as a child, and the way I kind of, the way I coped in life was through that little golden child, like, you know, performing and getting attention from that, because I felt so unworthy in every other area. I had a lot of problems as a child, and yeah, that was really, I was just, shut down a lot for that and like made wrong for it. I will always have that patterning, and of course you can, we talked about Joe Dispenza, you can change certain patterning, but I think at the core, with your core wounds, they are going to always be a part of you. And I just try to notice when I am getting too into that motive, that like wounded child that's going, oh, love me, see me, I'm not successful until I've got that. And I'll do it all the time, several times a day, several times a week, whatever. But I just bring myself back, and I just put a hand on my heart or whatever, and I'll just be like, you're good, like, I've got you, it's okay. And then I notice myself soften, and I might be in a cycle where I post on social media every day because I need those likes to show me I'm on the right path. And then I'll just take weeks off, and I'll go, oh, cool, actually, I'm just catching myself all the time and coming back. And I think a lot of this healing path is about, I think a lot of the New Age wants to teach us that we heal away our things and we become better and better on this never-ending kind of linear line of improvement. And that's not the way it is. It's a spiral, and it's about getting more responsible for your brokenness and the way how it either operates you or you can take care of it better, and then it doesn't operate you as much. And so, yeah, that's where I'm at, is coming to terms with that I am someone with a lot of wounding, but it's something beautiful about me, and I make all the better music for it. But I'll always need to do my practices and keep on top of it, because I will go spiral downwards if I don't stay true to my heart. So yeah.
Because I think of my mum when I think of this, like, definitely a thing. She's a writer, like a children's author.
Oh wow.
And like, I don't know, I worry sometimes that she almost needs the affirmation, or she is striving for the affirmation of the industry. And the industry of, you know, kind of children's books is, I imagine, quite frustrating, because a lot of it is kind of like celebrity based. A lot of it is pushed because they got a name already.
You may as well,
and they just kind of push them into the world. And I'm just thinking to my head, like, I don't think you're ever going to get the affirmation of that industry.
No,
so you may as well just try and forget about that and just crack on with like writing, and just do as much of the writing as possible, and just try and be like really happy and just doing that. Like, I don't know about you, Phil, I definitely feel like sometimes for me the worst part of writing music is putting out.
Yeah.
Because you're just
hard.
like putting it out, and then you're like, oh, it's kind of out there now. And it kind of feels a bit strange. You kind of feel like, well, I actually really enjoyed doing the artwork. I really enjoyed making the music and collaborating with people and like mixing certain bits to make them sound as good as possible. And then when I get it out, I'm just a bit like,
anticlimax. Yeah, definitely. Like, I think that's really normal in this industry. And then we're like, oh, and the next thing that's going to give me, that's going to like, oh, because I could externalize my worth onto. I know a lot of the DJs I work with, the famous ones, I noticed that can be the case. Like, it's not a bad quality, I see it in myself, but it's like, oh, like, I need to see if it gets to the chart. And it's almost like an addiction, like, make the song, get it perfect. And then almost as soon as it's out, I feel like they just go, meh. I can't feel them in it anymore, and then they're on to the next song. I'm like, oh crap, like, I can really see that trap. I'm getting into that trap and I'm trying to leave it. But I really resonate with that.
So that's a very hard thing as a creative, just to be not needing that affirmation from the outside world. Because I thought about this the other day as well, like, that outside world, you can never control it. So it's like, why would you give in your sense of happiness and affirmation to that?
Yeah.
Because it's always just moving. The goalposts will always move, like, things will change, the industry will change. Yeah, and you're there just like,
Yeah.
And I definitely think I'm trying not to create any kind of music that is, when I'm writing it, or I don't think, oh, this will be a hit. I try and think in my head, oh, I just really like love this music.
Exactly.
And this is the kind of stuff that I would, groove on down to, or my family would dance to. Do you know what I mean?
That I would groove on down to.
Yeah,
I like
just
that.
be like that. Keep the therapist away. Did you have any kind of conventional therapy?
I did I should have had way more than I did, come to think of it. But during cancer, I had a really great therapist. And then I've had like bouts of, like BAPAM and those kind of, there's charity organisations for musicians. There's some help musicians, BAPAM, there's places where you can get. Yeah, so I've had a few bouts of like 8 free sessions when I really needed it. It's because it's so expensive. And there's so many things that have helped me, and you can't do all of them. It's like sometimes I just needed to have a massage every month for a good few years because my chronic pain was so bad, and it was like between that or therapy, and you're forever kind of having to choose what route that you go down for your health and help with that, because it gets really expensive. But if you can start to take on these tools through your life and then build a good community around you, you can kind of create natural therapy in your life through the right friends, the right, as you said, the right dance classes or whatever it is. The more you get, I think this path of evolution is actually just about really getting to know yourself and how to parent yourself and how to to apply the right medicine in the right moment. Otherwise it's so overwhelming, because like you said, the new age is, I say new age to describe some of these more commodified paths of self-development and healing that does teach you to permanently improve yourself, and the goalpost always moves. That can be so overwhelming because you'll never be able to heal away your beautiful, raw, messy humanness. You're always gonna have shit days, you're always gonna feel like insecure, whatever, at some point. And if you can get more realistic and responsible about that and stop giving your power to these external things, you kind of, life becomes your therapy. And God, I could probably do with some more therapy even now, I can always do with therapy.
Literally. But this is almost therapeutic in a way, isn't it?
This is therapy. You start to live in a way that is your therapy, and if I could, I'd get it all the time, every week, if I could afford it. But still,
me too. I did it through BetterHelp, and that actually they ended up giving me quite a good deal. Shout out to BetterHelp because they're amazing. It was, I think it was at one point it was like 40 quid a month.
Oh, I might look into that.
It was really good, and I had it pretty much every week.
Wow.
And to be fair, a lot of therapists, depending on how busy they are, a lot of them will do you a deal. And they'll say, I know that, who was I was listening to the other day? Someone who couldn't afford it. Was it what's that magician guy called? Is it Domino?
Oh, I don't know.
But he ended up having free therapy for a year because the guy was like, I can see that you're really struggling. I'm doing quite well from and he said, I'll just give you the therapy for free.
Oh my God, I should audition therapists for that. But just tell them my story.
It's an amazing story. It's a very, very, intriguing, nuanced story, isn't it? Lots of things have happened.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I think, just being able to unpack it and talk about it in chunks would be so helpful.
I find writing it down was the biggest thing for me. Writing it down and running.
Yeah.
I found running, when I did it, I started bawling. Don't know why, but it was linked to something.
That.
So I'd run around the park and I'd just stop halfway through.
Wow.
Have a massive cry.
Wow,
for
your
5,
body
10
does
minutes.
it for you.
And then it'd be this weird catharsis. Well, not weird, it would be a catharsis.
Yeah.
For that. And also writing it down, I don't know why it was I was kind of passing the emotions on.
Yeah, that sounds really that's the one thing I've actually done throughout 10 years now, journaled, not every day, but definitely at least once a week, constant writing it down and processing it. I want to write a book really, really badly.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, I've also had a documentary being filmed on me for the last 10 years or whatever, but just don't really know. We keep filming because we don't know where it's going. Started out as, I'm writing an EP while I've got cancer. Then it was writing an album through this mad journey of healing and cancer and motherhood. And then it was the famous voice and dance music and just going to carry on filming. And it was I don't know where it's leading, but yeah. I feel when I'm ready to write that book, I'd love to start next year. Sometimes you just have to get over yourself and just take it on as a little chunk, stop seeing it as a mountain. But I think that's going to be a really big therapy. Every day. Yeah, exactly. And we got good old ChatGPT.
Nice.
To help, not to write the book, but just so good for cognitively challenged people like me. I'm super ADHD, I think. But yeah, so helpful to have that tool. It helps you to write, helps you to express. ChatGPT
is that an
ADHD
thing, then, not being able to think about things in that way or write in a certain way?
For me, in a sort of organised there's so many genius ideas all the time. I say genius ideas, but like I just have so much to say or do or plans or ideas, but it's getting it into a structured, clear format and plan, which chat really helps me with.
Right, okay.
Like, and it's just like bullet points. I'm like, oh wow, this is incredible. Sometimes you need to answer like a big legal email or something. I mean, I can't believe how much I hold as one person. But yeah, like with being a mother and then the agents, the lawyers, the management, the A&Rs in this industry, you're juggling a lot at once. And as an ADHD person, it's like, oh my God. But yeah, chat has helped me so much to just see the truth of a situation at essence and then respond like to the point, direct.
Yeah,
that's
it's like
the
business,
thing.
isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like business.
Because I was my emotions will get in it. I'm like, how dare they unvalue me for da-da-da. And the chat's like, it's just business.
Yeah, it's like lawyers.
Just,
come on.
Yeah, you just got to like, okay, respond that, X, Y, Z. That's what I need. I'm like, oh yeah, that's such a healthy way to look at it.
Because it literally has zero emotions.
Yeah, exactly. It was often the way in the industry. So yeah, it all becomes therapy when you start looking at it that way. But
no, I'd love to start doing it again. I'll definitely look into potentially doing it in the next couple of years.
yeah.
But, yeah, it's an interesting thing to do. I actually just really ended up really enjoying it towards the end as well.
Oh,
I really felt
loved
like
it.
I felt like I was enjoying it at the beginning, but it was just so painful. It was just like very intense, and I felt like, can I hang on doing this? But then towards the end, she did like. Also, she could see right through me as well. Just like certain things she'd say, and I'd be like, "Oh, how do you even know that? Like, you really know me for a certain amount of time, but you could say it." She'd say something and just would floor you.
That's a bit, isn't it? The safety of that one safe space and that one person. How you can gently let down those walls and become more vulnerable. Because I'm really good at masking. I think when I first started therapy or went to workshops of any kind to do with healing, I didn't realise I was actually bringing the mask and sort of like not letting it, not just even being just with my emotions and angry and then I had to get under that. It was like I'd be with my emotions and what I was feeling, and then on top of that was a great big identity that was like, oh, I'm fine actually, I think everything's really, I went through all this stuff, but I see it as a blessing and da-da-da. Almost like a spiritual identity that's like, oh, I'm so at peace with everything. So get under that first, then show someone your emotions, then get under where they came from. It's a lot. You have to really let someone in over a long period, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, it can be tricky, the psyche.
Yeah, I felt like I trusted her straight away though. It was weird, like, I don't know.
That's good.
Very kind of like to the point. And I think I've always found women easier to kind of like interact with ever since I was a kid. Like, I don't know why, but something about my personality or something, the way I always find it easier to connect with women.
Yeah.
Like, I think
sense.
even now I do definitely like find it easier to chat to women. I think sometimes when men are like typical men, I find that sometimes quite hard to interact with because I'm just nothing like that. So I'm just a bit just like, I can't relate to you. When you start talking about certain things, I'm like, we're not on the same page.
Yeah, creative men, I think they have so much depth. A lot of men are they're most affected by the society we're in. They just don't go there. They just don't. They're not allowed, or they've not been given permission. And I've found it hard to connect with a lot of men in my life in that way because it's almost like they're just up here. They can't.
Yeah.
They're
talking the way they think they should talk.
Yes.
Like beer and football, and I'm like,
yeah.
I don't like either of those things. So
Yeah. We'll run out of subjects.
Yeah, that's it. See you later.
And then I found part of this healing I've been going through with writing my music has been through men, because my gay best friend, my manager, he's just
What's
beautiful.
his name? Shout out.
Damien,
Shout
my
out Damien.
bestie. But just because he's a safe man for me as a woman, he's not going to objectify me because he's a gay man. That was like a helpful foundation. But then we're like the same person, and he's just such an incredible, amazing light energy. He lifts spaces, and we really think in the same way. And that's been a big healing with a lot of my best friends being gay men, actually trusting men in general and letting them love me, letting them see me. And it's not about being objectified. It's not about that type of attraction. It's like, I've needed that. And then King Wizard, who's this incredible producer I'm working with now, he's just he's just a next level human. He's just so deep and so lovely and kind. He almost feels like an androgynous spirit. He's just like his own person, and he's as a woman just such a beautiful person to be around. But yeah, I think more creative men are very like in touch with all that, and they're like deeper, 100%. Which is so nice. And yeah, and then I think you start to be able to build that trust through those types of people, to like give other men a chance. For me, I've been going through a really big healing. Like,
not all dickheads.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm sure at one point it would have been like really scary to have a podcast just with any man just because he's a man. There's like so many things with women and men, but like lately it's just like, oh my God, just I'm feeling the beauty and like enjoying celebrating men so much, especially in a world that lately has been quite angry at men.
Extremely angry.
Being parents to boys, like, we need to have that healthy relationship to celebrating the beauty of men, and they need it more than ever in this time.
100%.
Really
well, I mean, if you think about it, all of the people everyone's angry at in the public eyes are all men. Or mostly men.
Yeah, and being a woman, you can get away with quite a lot at the moment. I think if you can still be a dick and be a woman, but you're not going to get as much the limelight on you. And I think, that is something that's important to talk about with, one thing actually that's come up a few times in this podcast is like, I don't know what you found about this, but like the touchy-feeliness, because I do a lot of gigs where I'm like literally in the crowd, and like a few of my friends have said this as well, the forwardness sometimes of women, the touchy feeling, like it's like ridiculous. I've had several times where agents have like called me the next day and been like, "Are you all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine," but it was a bit weird, like just like hands all over you, the husband just kind of there like watching. Wow.
But yeah, it was all very strange, and that's happened quite a few times to me and quite a few times to my friends. And I was just thinking in my head, imagine if I was a female saxophone player and there was a bloke like grabbing them all over their body. It would just be, he would be either beaten up or he would be removed.
You'd have a lot more support, and it does happen. Oh my God, as a singer, it's horrible the way we're objectified. But I think, as a woman, you can just say, this is happening, and like a lot of people will come and help. But I imagine as a man, that might be, there's a whole different ideology around that. Like, oh yeah, lucky him. It's like, no, I'm still my boundaries are being crossed. This isn't okay. Yeah. But it must be awkward for you to then be like, can you stop that? Because it's not like, as a woman, I don't know, it's just taken differently, isn't it?
Yeah. So. And it's not like I'm never scared of it, because it's like,
help.
Yeah. Because often like they're a lot smaller than me, and I know I've realised generally as a whole, men are stronger than women, and you know, in most situations, not saying all situations, there are lots of extremely strong women and weak men. But I'm saying in this instance, it's like I didn't feel intimidated. I just thought it was a bit weird.
Yeah.
I'm just a bit like, your husband's literally there watching.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like a cuck
you're an
vibe.
object.
Yeah. And it's like, it's funny, maybe it's okay a couple of times, but when you get to like the 10th time, it's just a bit like, okay. This is weird now. Can we stop doing this, please?
Yeah.
It's a bit embarrassing for you and for me.
Yes. And it must be, you must have this, you've been married a long time. It must be weird. You go out and you are an object of, you're performing and everyone's looking at you. And it is edgy for your partner, and it's edgy for like your family, almost like you got to trust that person's, you're not going to use that power to cross 100%. Lines and stuff.
Her family were weird about it to begin with, definitely. Her brothers were like, he's a musician, right?
Yeah.
That kind of archetype of like musician man, going to these different places, like, sleeping with different women. It's like, I couldn't be less like that. That's literally just not me.
But people look at it and think, oh, that's the life. If you wanted it, that could be. But it's a lot to hold that perception. I have that as well as a woman, and I go to the clubs in Ibiza and I'm singing. I did a gig at O Beach in like a bikini. It's like at 36 years old, I'm like reclaiming my womanhood, singing to this massive thing at O Beach. And I think sometimes I go to the playground at pickup, and I probably just in my own head, I'm like, people just think I'm like this great big slut mum or something. And I'm like, No, me and my manager wrote a song to reclaim that called Slut. It was like Slut Shop. It was all about the Ibiza thing of like reclaiming my sexuality as a woman, but not because I want the attention from that person, from me. Like, and people find it hard to hold those in their mind, like that you can go out and be a performer and be the center of attention, but it's not. That doesn't mean you want something from it. It's actually just freedom.
Not
to
hunting
be
for
you.
it.
Yeah.
And also, like, to be honest, the weirdest thing I find is just this. Like, in fact, I can't just filming me
in your face,
and it's like I can't even see your face.
Yeah.
You can't like. What? Who are you going to play this to?
Yeah,
and it's like I immediately feel disconnected from you because there's like 6 phones in front of my face, and I'm just like,
right.
Please don't.
Yeah,
Come on, just look at me. Or like we can have an interaction where it's like there's no technology involved.
Yes.
Because I mean, saxophone is what? It's 120 years old. Probably even older than that. 130 years old, 140 years old. It's an interesting instrument. Like, let's just listen to the music rather than this. That's what makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
My mate used to do it where you just used to take the phone and would just like walk off, do loads of selfies with it.
Oh yeah, that's good fun too.
It's got a thing
just
to
like,
do.
Okay,
like,
thanks, bye.
Where are you going?
Yeah, I see that with some of the more famous artists I work with as well. Like I've done it where I'm walking around Ibiza with Joel Corey or something, and
I can imagine he's a handsome dude.
Yeah, he's a
like
pen doll.
Yeah,
and he gets so like it must get really exhausting. I mean, I'm like just scratching the level of maybe sometimes getting recognised in Brighton or Worthing, but it's people. Again, another thread through this conversation is that objectification. People just remove the human from the person, and they do see you as this object, and that's bad for me because I'm already prone to self-objectifying, not even through a lens of I don't know, just through a lens of my mind looking at myself from the outside, basically. And then when other people do that to me, I'm like, like I am just an object. I have to be really careful not to get too into it. Like I'll do a few really big gigs, like a Schweier beef or whatever, and I'll be on the podiums and that. But then I come back and I'm like in Worthing, just Coast Cafe every day, like do just swimming lessons, whatever. Like I have to have that anchor so that 100%. I don't get turned into that weird. It really affects a lot of the DJs I work with. I can see they're just like they don't know who they are anymore.
Tyson Fury, the big heavyweight boxer.
Oh yeah,
he literally said the same thing. He came back and he did a tip run the next day. For his family, he's like, I got to feel normal. I'm just going to do a tip run, just like something really boring and mundane. Just be like, I've just, I'm basically the heavyweight champion in the world.
Wow.
But tomorrow I'm going to do a tip run in Morecambe.
And it's so therapeutic. You've
got to be real as well. You've got to have the realness. Otherwise, you again, another thread that's run through is that disassociation of who the fuck am I? What do I stand for? What does all this mean?
Yep.
I mean, it's such a short space of time that we're on this earth anyway. You may as well just be true to yourself and just enjoy it.
Yeah.
And just like have fun with it.
Exactly. Yeah. I've got to keep it real. Sometimes people recognize me off TikTok and they're like, or I'll do a gig and then I come down and say hi to it in the crowd dancing to the rest. Can't believe you're like down here with us. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm just like human. A mum. Like tomorrow you'll see me in Tesco's. Like, people have actually responded quite well to my TikTok content in that way because I'm always like, I can't hide my like dorkiness and like, I'm just a very open person. I'm not very good at being measured and I don't know, they're like, thank you for being so relatable and like
so normal.
Yeah, so normal.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll post something and someone will go like, you're so brave, and I'm like,
that's such a weird.
I'm just being me.
That's like a side compliment. Yeah. Like what? Is that an insult? I don't know.
Exactly. Like I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't want people to see me dancing or whatever I'm doing.
Hilarious.
And, but it is really
comments
humbling.
are hilarious anyway.
Yeah. What I love is now moving back to my hometown of Worthing because I was away for a long time. I've loved making a really beautiful community at Coast Cafe. Shout. I love going singing the little local places. I love...
Where do you sing right now? Because we'll have to come and see.
Coast is, I'm singing there, well, it's New Year's Eve actually. You'll definitely have a gig New Year's Eve, I'm sure.
Unfortunately.
But sometimes I sing down there. Audio Active, I'm getting more involved with them now. I'll do some stuff for the youth.
They're great.
And then sometimes I'm like at my dance class and my music's playing as part of the the new block of routines at Les Mills or something. It's so funny. So like all that stuff, it's so important to like, with the thing that you do, your talent, your gift, whatever people pedestal you for, to bring that back to your community and your roots and humble yourself.
I haven't done
like,
that yet. I need to do that more.
Yeah. You're so busy
it.
and out everywhere, and you've got your is it three
lads,
three boys? Yeah. So I mean, you're doing it already, I guess, in your dad duties, but yeah, it is nice when you get to come and
I'd like to do that more.
give back musically.
I'd like to play at Coast.
Yeah,
they do like a jazz thing.
I could set you up there. That'd be amazing.
Mate, set me up somewhere, because I've seen the guy who runs it. It's like an older dude with glasses,
George,
right?
He does the programming. I always say George and his wife Marianne, they're just the most fabulous people. I love them.
Because I also met the guy who owns it. He's got a kid,
Barry.
Miles.
Yes, I think I've met his kid. Yeah.
And the boys went up to him immediately. They started running around together. They were playing for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's quite sweet. He's just around there.
Oh, but it's just so special, isn't it? We're very lucky. We live right on the coast, and there's this cafe that's a family-friendly thing by day, where the kids can run around and you can have a beer if you want. There's a playground, and then by night it's just the best club.
Great.
I feel like it's a bit of Europe in England. I feel really blessed to live here.
It's very much like that.
Yeah. I think that's the second time we met was there at the splash pads.
yeah, it was. That's funny. Kids are very good at that as well, just going up, being like, "Hi, who are you?"
Yeah.
I'm this person. This is me. Let's play.
Can we be friends?
Like, adults need to be more like that.
Yeah, I was trying to remember, because Leo goes like, "Take their number, Mama. Take their number, because I want to play with them again." And sometimes you just feel so awkward about that. But I was trying to remember, like, when I bumped into you, I was like, "Oh, did we get your number for a play date?" But we always end up bumping back into each other, so it's fine. But
I think that happens more down here. It definitely didn't happen in London. But I spoke to a dad about that, and he said, "Oh, it feels weird when I take a woman's number."
Yeah.
And I was just like, I never felt that.
No.
Because I never felt like it was, I don't know, never felt unconfident being like, "Oh, can I take your number so we can do like a play date?"
Exactly, because you're kind of secure and you don't see that person as that.
And then they probably didn't think I was hitting on them.
Yeah.
Generally,
As a dad, hopefully not.
Weird. It's like, I wasn't hitting on you. I just want, my kids like playing with your kids.
Yeah.
Essentially all it is.
Yeah, but I can understand as a man that might be a worry. Yeah.
Or a worry about the partner of that person.
Yeah.
Being just like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah, exactly. It's nice when you meet other families, I think, that are just more, more open. A lot of parents you meet are very nuclear in their own little boxes.
Especially in the schoolroom. It's like, I don't know anything about you, but I see you twice a day.
Yeah. I know. You see them.
Interesting.
You've got a lot of small talk with those people, and that can be really.
To be fair, like someone said to me once, like the dads never speak to the mums. Like you're pretty much the only dad I've seen just go up to mums and just chat to them.
Wow.
And I was like, that's quite sad.
Yeah, because you're not objectifying women anyway. You're just like, oh, you're my mate. Oh, you work with women.
Or the men are just kind of just like a bit less, I don't know, it's maybe just a little bit less confident, or just want to keep themselves. You often see them just like staring at the phone. It's almost like a comfort thing. Yeah. Because it's a bit uncomfortable just to be like, hello.
Yeah.
And go up to someone you don't really know.
It's true. I don't think men and women have been taught anyway to be like friends. It's just with that thing, the way society separates men and women is so strong, I think.
That's culture as well, isn't it?
Culture,
films, TV.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you're only interested in women if it's going to be for one thing. And it's like, actually, I don't think a lot of men do think that way, but they're afraid to be perceived like that. And
yeah. And raising the boys, I guess we've got to talk about that kind of stuff and talk about these different avenues of how men are perceived, how boys are perceived.
Yeah, it's true. Like, there needs to be a lot more support. I want to find that for my son, like a lot more support for what it is to be a man. And I think your path of addiction, Leo's dad, Bradley, also has that path, and he's had to learn so much about why so many men go down that path, because they're not allowed to access so much of that deeper thing in culture and society, that they have to pocket it off somewhere and to escape into his. He speaks openly about this as well. His was cocaine as well. And we have to be really vigilant with Leo, because he's got so many of our traits. And just if we see him in that sort of addictive energy of like trying to escape his anger and put it into something. We're like, we have to tell him it's okay to talk about affecting it. Yeah, because it affects them at this age. Even that sort of
massively.
patriarchal consciousness. It's like men can't do that and women can't do that. We're all losing inside of
Well,
that.
you see it all the time with parenting, like the boy being just like taken off, or a certain thing is dealt with a certain way. Like, don't feel like that, don't shout.
Yes.
And it's like, well, that kid. I just let my kids kind of run a bit feral.
Yes.
And I can see other parents being like, why is the kid running around like that? Well, I'm just like, well, that's the way I parent. So
Oh my God, we have to hang out with the kids. I said to Bradley, I was like, I think...
Leo's my middle name as well, by the way. You know
Is
that?
it? Oh, really?
Max Leo,
That's so funny. Wow. And do you know what's even weirder? My son Leo's... he's got 2 elves, the elf on the shelf, and he called them Max and Leo.
Oh, amazing.
That's their names. And yeah, my mum always wanted Max for a boy. Well, she has a boy, but later on she was going to have the name Max, and she never got to have a boy. And yeah, she always says like Max is like the son she never had. So it's really funny. Leo always thinks of that name as well.
That's sweet.
But yeah, little synchronicities. I love it. But yeah, I said to Bradley, like, I've met this family that they're really cool. Like, dad's a muso, mum's a midwife. We love we've got a lot of friends that are in that work as well.
Yeah.
Because we're friends with Hannah as well. Who's
The whole family are medical as well.
yeah, really.
Yeah. So
Wow.
you've got dad GP,
Okay.
mum nurse.
Yeah, but just like.
Medical chats.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
interesting. Getting to get in that insight. It's nice when you just meet families that you're like, oh, they're cool. Like we could talk to them.
Yeah,
They'd
yeah.
get us.
Yeah. In fact,
We're not
Hannah
the
and
weirdos.
Emma are like that as well.
Exactly,
Yeah,
Hannah and
very cool.
Emma. Like there's a few other parents we're meeting finally after like 2 years at the school. We're like, oh yeah, like
Sussing
those.
them out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You wean them out. You're like, okay.
Yeah.
We might have to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Just because I need to do the old.
Speaking of which, yes.
Speaking of which,
because we got to
gotta
go
pick
to
up
the
the little
schools.
sprogs.
Yes.
Thank you so much for letting us
Thank
use the space and the
you.
idea of this.
Yeah.
Coming on, chatting so openly.
Thank you so
Really
much.
nice.
It's been really nice to chat and
it's
get
amazing.
back into that for next year. I want to do more of this. So
Yeah, 100%.
thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.